It's finally here. As you know, today, this morning, 5 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, Nikon has finally let us know about the latest camera they're gonna release, which is, well, you know by now, it's the Nikon Z8. That's right, it's official. It is official. All the rumors, speculations, vlog talk, blog talk, tweets, we can put them all to rest. Finally, I'm so tired. I'm so tired because now we have the official announcement of the specs, the price, release date, and how it compares to the Z9. Let's get to it. Join me every Thursday on YouTube for another live show of Let's Talk Photography. We cover the latest news, interviews with today's industry leaders, tips, tricks, lighting, cameras, and the business of photography. My weekly live stream is all about crowd participation. You're encouraged to ask questions, talk about the cool camera gear you've got or the camera gear you want to get. Hell, you can just join our open panel discussion during our Q&A portion of the show. The cost of access to Let's Talk Photography is very, very low. For today only, I'm hosting a very low price of $3.99 to subscribe and press that bell icon to get notifications of my upcoming live streams. Now let's get back to the show. Today, I want to share with you the official tech specs of the upcoming Nikon Z8 and its official release date and the pricing and the comparison to the Nikon Z9. So let's head to their website and check it out. All right, so here we are at nikonusa.com. As you can see, the price is for $39.99. So I was hoping for $3,500. You know, I had a feeling I was like shooting for the clouds there, but $39.99 is bearable for sure, for body only. Of course, you know, we're going to have to add another like maybe $300 or so for the battery grip, but we'll get to that later. But so far, $399.99. Not much more than what I thought originally was going to be. So $35,000 to $4,000 I thought would be a bearable range, and here we are at $39.99, basically $4,000. Okay, let's get to the tech specs. So we can see it has a 45 megapixel sensor, just like the Z9 does. So we're not losing there, but we're not gaining. We're not gaining either. It has a, what I was told, it also has a stack sensor, just like the Z9. All right, same size, everything. Storage, this is now, it has a SD and a CF Express type B card slot. So that means therefore, that is a big difference, but that's probably due to the size of the camera. So no surprise there, really, that happened. I'm just glad at least it has two card slots of something. ISO range is ISO 64 to 25,600. And so that's, again, comparable to the Z9. Movie-wise, we're looking at the 8K. Up to 30 frames a second, okay? And then we have 4K up to 120 frames a second, which is sweet. I always love to see some 4K at 120 frames, so we don't lose video capability there as well. Monitor size is the same, 3.2-inch diagonal monitor screen. The monitor type is a tilting, vertically and horizontal tilt, TFT, touch-sensitive LCD screen. So that's probably going to be very similar to the D850, from what I remember. I don't have it anymore. I haven't had it in a while. But yeah, that was a tilty screen. But I don't think it did vertical. So it's kind of like a hybrid between, or somewhere in between, the D850 and the Z9. So Well, here we go. Now, battery. The battery it has is an ENEL15C rechargeable battery. So we're going back to the D850 kind of a battery. And does it give us the, no, it doesn't give us the rating for the shoots, but I'm sure it'll show us later on. But we'll take a look. From what I saw from other videos, I believe I watched Petapixel's video when Nick and Jordan, and I believe they said it's about 370 it was rated for, but we'll take a look. Again, less than the Z9, but that's, well, it's because it's smaller battery. Now, that's the same battery as the D850, and that battery never bothered me. I never ran out when I didn't need to, but I wasn't shooting heavy video with it either. And this camera is definitely heavy video centric, so that may be an issue. But if I'm doing a heavy amount of video, I'm going to be shooting with a V-mount battery anyway. So I never go to a set shooting the batteries that are custom to the camera, to any of my video cameras. That would be crazy. I'm bringing like 1 or 2 V-mount batteries. That's the way you show up, and it'll last all day without a problem, okay? Size-wise, it's from the numbers, it's not going to say a whole lot, but it says 5.79 inches by 4.7 inches by 3.3 inches. So basically, it's like a baby version of the Z9 minus the battery grip. But from what I saw on the video, as well as the review videos out there from Jared Polin and Petapixel, the grip itself is just as deep as the Z9. So that's a solid 2 thumbs up, because I love the way the Z9 fits in my hands. And especially when you put larger glass on, it just adds a little bit more stability, that good deep grip. So kudos for that. And it's coming in at a whopping 32 ounces, okay? So that's not really that big. I mean, that heavy, quite honestly. You know, with body only, it's lighter than the Z9. And as many of you know, that's exactly what I wanted. I wanted something that is comparable in terms of performance, right? Capability in the video, autofocus, everything of the Z9, but smaller. I've been saying that to all my Nikon, fellow Nikon shooters, and also those that I know a few that work at Nikon. That's all I want, is something smaller, just as rugged, and that's what they're delivering so far. So let's get to the next thing. Let's scroll down. So as I said, you're going to get your, as I said, it's 45 megapixels. Of course, you have the imager. Let's see if it does anything else. Of course, you have JPEG, and now it does what is it? The HEIF compressed, which are what they said on the video is a higher form of compression, but gives you more dynamic range at the same time. So we're going to be able to hopefully be able to store more of them on the card, but we'll find out. Most importantly is that I like that even though it's compressed, it gives us more dynamic range. So that will be cool, because sometimes if you're shooting, well, I normally run with a 128 or larger card in my camera, 128 gig, excuse me. So it never was really a huge issue, but it would be nice to see how this works out, if it does give us a little bit more latitude and dynamic range, but also keep it nice and compressed like a JPEG. So that'd be kind of cool. Moving on down, as I said, SD and CF Express Type B. And yes, you can use your XQD cards in there as well, because hell, I have 2 of them. Okay, I would like to use those again. I haven't used them since the D850. So it'd be cool to kind of pull those out just to have redundancy. In the meantime, I have 128 gig and a 512 gig CF Express Type B cards. That's what I've been using up to this point. The viewfinder is at 3.69 million dot OLED electronic viewfinder. Okay, so I know a lot of people were talking about much higher, but that is what it is. And It never bothered me. So if you want to, I'm sure someone will find a reason to complain about it. But to me, that's not going to be the make or break at all. Electronic. So yes. So here we have still an electronic shutter, no mechanical shutter, but it's still, and it has the sensor shield, which is awesome. I really like that sensor shield. It really helps me to feel a little bit more secure when I'm changing my lenses, especially when I'm outdoors. So that little feature, I'm glad they brought over to the Z8 from the Z9. Whether it's still just electronic shutter doesn't bother me, because since it's stacked sensor, I have less chances for bowing and other abnormal kind of characteristics in my photos. I've never noticed them, but the style of photography I do, lifestyle, fashion, and beauty photography, those were never an issue before the Z9, and it still isn't an issue to this date. So right on for keeping that same kind of shutter type in the Z8. I like that. Now your shutter speed, you can shoot up to 1/32,000th of a second and down to 30 seconds. So that's pretty cool. That's awesome. Never had to shoot that high, and I've never shot that low really, because I don't really do a lot of drag and shutter photography. But if I wanted to, mazel tov, it is there. That's awesome. Your flash sync speed is up to 1/200th of a second. So that's about what you would expect. Okay. Let's move it on down. I think the one thing I wanted to know, I wanted to mention, had to do with, okay, autofocus. Let's get to that. Okay, so the autofocus system is the hybrid phase detection, phase and contrast detect autofocus with AF assist. So we're getting the same autofocus system as the Z9. So if you like what you got there, this is going to be, again, a more compact version of autofocus performance. Excuse me, the wide area, autofocus, dynamic area, and the 3D tracking. I always loved the 3D tracking when I had the 850 and the 810 and the 850. I love that 3D tracking. It was really good for objects obviously moving more, and it always worked really well. So I'm really glad this feature is in there. So when I shoot like runways, that's the time I want to do it. Or when the bride is coming down the aisle, or, that's definitely a great time to use it too. So I'm happy to see that in this camera. All right, let's get to the movie stuff. Okay, so it says maximum record time for movies is 2 hours and 5 minutes. We'll see about that. And then, because I've heard mixed bags already, that it's more like an hour and a half and stuff like that. But nonetheless, it says 2 hours and 5 minutes in MOV, MP4, and NEV file formats, okay? It does NRAW at 12-bit. So that's pretty cool. And then it does Apple ProRes RAW HQ 12-bit. All right? Apple ProRes 422 HQ at 10-bit, okay? It does that as well. This is all internal. So this is pretty awesome. Filmmaking, this is it. I haven't really heavily used the Z9 in heavy video environments, because honestly, I just thought it was pretty big. I have other cameras that are much more compact, that will deliver the same kind of quality, maybe not 8K, but quality features. I have no problem with that, but I rather have a smaller compact body to work with. When I'm building out my video rig, I'd like my body to be more compact, and then by the time I build it out, I have the monitor, I got the mic, I got the boom on there, I have everything ready to go, matte box and everything, V-mount battery, then rails on the bottom, a cage. It's gonna grow. So the Z9 starting out as it did, the size with the, since it has a built-in grip, it just never was for me to use for video. Now, when I did shoot a couple of times using video, I was very impressed with the autofocus of the video and the color coming out of it as well. But the Z8 is now going to be in a form factor that's going to be more appealing for me to just grab, go, and shoot video with. So I'm definitely excited. I haven't bought the cage for the Z9, but the Z8, from what I could tell on the size, is going to be something I'm going to want to go to Small Rig and buy myself a camera cage to outgrow or build up a video rig specifically for the Z8. It does do the 8K video. All right, so that's pretty dope. As I said, 30 frames a second. It does 4K up to 120 frames a second, but also 100, 60, 50, 30, 25, and 24. And of course, it does HD up to 120 frames. We would expect that. When using, okay, here we go. Movie log gamma output. When using memory card in Z8 and not using external recorder, N-Log or H-Log videos are recorded to the memory card. We're not using memory card in Z8 and using external recorder, N-Log or H-Log video recorded to the external recorder via HDMI output, like an Atomos Ninja, more than likely most folks would use. And if you don't know what an Atomos Ninja is, it is this recorder right here. See, you record right onto a hard drive right there. And then here's the screen, the monitor. It's super nice, super bright. So, but it has your HDMI connections right there. Okay, has your HDMI connections, and then you just plug that right into the Z8 or Z9. So it's a great monitor. It's a great recorder as well, but it chews up batteries. It does, like the Cookie Monster. Anyway, moving right along. When using both memory card and external monitor, N-Log and H-Log, HLG, excuse me, video are recorded to both memory card and external recorder. So that's cool. So that's one way to get redundancy in terms of video capture. However, if you select 8K at 30 frames, or any 8K, it looks like, oh yeah, any 8K setting, or 4K 120 or 4K 100, the record frame size for HDMI output is changed to HD. All right, here we go. Here we go. Battery life. That's what we're talking about. Viewfinder. Okay, so it's basically saying roughly, if you're using, oh, okay, all right. Well, there's a lot of them here. Viewfinder only. Okay. 340 shots, approximately. Okay, because there's different variations. Check it out for yourself, NikonUSA.com. Okay, monitor only. It's anywhere between 300 and what does it say? 330. No, excuse me. 340 to 370. So 330 to 340 for viewfinder only, and for monitor only, it's 340 to 370. Okay, it sounds like the average is going to be about 350 to 360, give or take. Okay, photo mode burst photography number of shots would be 2,280 shots. So that's a lot. And for movie viewing with viewfinder, if you're shooting your video with viewfinder, you're going to be at 85 minutes. And if you're using monitor only shooting video, you're going to be, well, it says 85 minutes. So there you go. Okay. So that's for the battery life. I've always gotten way more shots out of what these are rated for. So I'm not worried. I always show up with at least 2, maybe 3 batteries, since these batteries are compact. With the Z9, I have 2 of their batteries, and I've never gone through one of them during my photo shoots, but maybe a wedding is the time where I actually have to go switch to the second battery. So with this, I would get 2 to 3 batteries is what I would recommend. 3 if you can, and you'll be just fine. With that said, I like that it's USB-C charged, and you can just plug it up. I would plug it in my cigarette lighter on my way to the next location or something like that, or bring a cell phone charger port, and you can just plug it in the wall during a wedding, charging one battery while you're shooting with another. So there's many ways to get around it. It's not a deal breaker. Please save the comments. The battery is not the big deal. Now that we got all the basic specs out of the way, let's check out a chart to really put it against the D850 and the Z9, because as we know in the launch video, they said it's literally the replacement for the D850, and that was and still is the best DSLR full frame camera ever made. So that says a lot. Let's check it out. All right, here we are again at NikonUSA.com. You can check this out for yourself. And here we are to compare to the Z8. Here the Z8 in the middle, and we got the D850 right here on the left, and the Z Nizzle right here on the right. So sensor size, we have the 45 megapixel sensor, backside illuminated. And then here we are, Z8 has the same as the Z9, right? This is why they're calling it literally the baby Z9 right now. It's 45 megapixel, but it's stacked CMOS sensor. So stacked, we're gonna get less rolling shutter. So that's gonna be fantastic for our video and sport shooters, or wildlife, birds and all that other jazz. Processing engine, we have the XP5 on the D850, and the Z8 has the same as the Z9, the XP7. Video resolution, we went from 4K ultra high definition, 30, 25, and 40. Now we have the same as the Z9. That's an 8.3K at 60 frames a second and RAW. Video formats, we have H.264 MP4s. And the Z9 now has the NRAW, ProRes RAW HQ, ProRes RAW 422 HQ, H.265, HEVC, H.64, and AVC. That's a lot. That's a tongue twister. Say that 3 times fast, which is this. So that's pretty awesome. And then we have, that's pretty awesome for the compact. If it's a little smaller than the D850 from this photo, it looks a little smaller than the D850. That's a hell of a lot they stacked in there. That's pretty awesome. Autofocus system from the 153-point AF with 3D tracking now has the 493-point autofocus with 3D tracking and subject detection built from deep learning, which is awesome. This is literally maybe 3 times as much autofocus points, again with the 3D tracking and subject detection, which has been awesome for me for my photo shoots. I love being able to put on eye detect. It works like a charm. Continuous shooting, going from 7 frames to now a whopping 20 frames RAW and 120 frames at JPEG, but those are only 11 megapixel images, so just beware, but it's there. And for a lot of applications, 11 megapixels is more than enough. Post on your website, post on social media, email, a blog, newsletter, yeah, that's more than enough. Then we have maximum internal video record time. On his D850, we have 29 minutes, 59 seconds. And the Z8, we have 2 hours and 5 minutes in 4K ultra high definition UHD. Up to 90 minutes in 8K. Oh, that's where the 90 minutes came from. Copy that. Okay. And the Z9, we have 2 hours, 5 minutes. Okay. So virtually the same as we can see right down the board with the Z9. They just smushed the guts, smushed the body. Well, they smushed the body and stuffed the guts. Okay. All right. Shutter speed. Mechanical electronic. This one is fully electronic, just like the Z9. Fastest shutter speed, 1/8,000th of a second. And then this one is literally 4 times more, because minus the mechanical shutter, at 1/32,000th of a second. So that's pretty big difference. Viewfinder optical, same as the Z9 for the Z8, and so therefore blackout free, real live electronic viewfinder with up to 120 frames refresh rate. That's pretty awesome. Display, tilting touch, while this one has a 4-axis tilting touch screen. Okay, so if it has the same screen as the Z9, that's pretty awesome, because I like that a lot. And surprisingly, the build quality of the tilt screen was really, really good. Lens compatibility, obviously F mount, and now we have the Z mount with F mount, F to Z adapter you can use on there. I recommend getting the F to Z2 because it doesn't get in the way as much on the bottom if you don't need that collar, you know, to put on a tripod or something. Otherwise, it's a little annoying. Anyway, so get the F to Z2 adapter is what I recommend. Battery, we have the ENL 15 series, and again here in the Z8. So that's the one thing it carries over. So if you have those batteries, just put them right on in. And then we have the ENL 18 for the Z9 because they have the bigger battery and almost twice as much capacity and shots you get out of it, which is no surprise. Power delivery, none. While here, yes, you do have a dedicated PD port. Okay. And the D850 have CF Express Type B, XQD, and SD. And that is exactly what you're getting in the Z8. And in the Z9, you have 2 CF Express Type B slots, which is no surprise because it's much larger. So, oh, look at this. It actually is slightly smaller than the D850. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. So it's slightly less taller, slightly less wider, but the grip is probably why it's 3.3 inches versus the 3.1. Okay, it probably has a deeper hand grip, what makes it a little bit more girthier right there. But otherwise, it's shorter and not as wide. So that's pretty cool. I like the sound of that. Okay, so those are the official specs. It's priced right now on NikonUSA.com for $3,999.95. Are you going to be placing your deposit? Because if you do, they say the shipping date starts May 25th. That's literally, hold on now, in 2 weeks. Okay, in 2 weeks. I know I'm going to. I'm going to go over to Mike's camera and put down my deposit so that I could be among the first. So I'm excited to get my hands on this camera and bring to you my experience with it. The more I learn more about this, I'll be sharing it with you. Let me know what you think about the specs, what they said. Will you be putting a deposit down? Will you be getting this camera? Don't even care about the camera? Hey, whatever it is, let me know in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video and you would like to see more, don't forget to smash that like, share, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon to get notifications of my upcoming videos. And until next time, keep shooting, stay creative.